Good day, one and all. Welcome to my midterm debriefing video. My name is Garza, and I'd like to take this opportunity to give you a debriefing of my project up to date. First of all, let me start by summarizing my project. As we all have seen, more and more classes, degrees are becoming more accessible online throughout different colleges, universities. And South Texas College has made a push for all departments to try and get online students or classes online for students that cannot take traditional classes. So I have been given the opportunity to convert one of our traditional face-to-face class over to an online class. So as you can maybe imagine, becoming a computer maintenance person, you would need to have quite a bit of experience or knowledge on hands-on projects or items that allows for the technicians to systematically approach a particular problem and be able to fix those problems. The students in this particular class are going to have to be familiar with the operating system, again Windows-based systems, and be able to use the tools provided by the manufacturer, in this case Microsoft, to be able to repair systems, again software-based issues that might arise. So the questions that were presented to us were what have we done, or what's the ultimate goal of our particular project. And again, it's going to be for me the conversion of a traditional class over to a online class. For our second question of the midterm debriefing, asked, what does the instructional solution look like now? Is it taking shape? And what does your end product look like at this point? In order to answer that, let me go ahead and click on the page that I'm working on, which is Microcomputer System Software. So the first thing the learners are going to see when they click on this page is the welcome screen. The welcome screen is going to provide the class a briefing of the class. It'll direct them to the watch video link, which obviously would be on our left side, these tabs over here. So they will be able to identify how to go about maneuvering in Blackboard. So very basic, and I will be working on this particular video some more after, hopefully before the semester is over, if not afterwards. So let's go ahead and dive into the syllabi, which is the first thing that I would like for them to do if they already know Blackboard. And my syllabi is, first of all, up here on the top left, you're going to see that there's a printable version of my syllabi, and I'm going to request or ask for the students to print this out for their own hard copies. I've had issues before where students will be trying to get in touch with me and all they have is the Blackboard syllabi, and either A, they don't have internet access, or B, maybe Blackboard is down for our school, servers are down or something to that effect, and they won't be able to have my information. So the ability to communicate with the instructor is of the utmost, especially on an online class, so I'll ask them to download that. On the syllabi, this is a typical syllabus that STC would have us do, which is going to be instructor's information, course information, a little bit about what the program is, the course requirements, evaluation methods. It's going to be a little bit different than what we are accustomed to seeing here at UTB, obviously, but it's got most of the information that you would see on a typical online class. You have your required textbook, the materials that's going to be needed. Internet, obviously, it's going to be one of the most important part of an online class. The hard drives, I'm not asking for them to have a separate hard drive. What I'm asking them to have is free space in that hard drive. Some questions might arise of what if the computer or this particular student does not have a Windows-based system. They can always have VMware Player, which I would also provide for them or have a link to, so that in case they need to add an operating system of Windows 7, because this book here, Gene Andrews, is going to require the labs, any information that's provided, to be done on a Windows-based system, which is Windows 7 in our case, one of the most popular operating systems that is out there right now. So if they don't have that, if they have a Mac or some other Linux, some other operating system, even Windows 8, they can still use the virtual machine to place Windows 7, which I will be providing a virtual of Windows 7 that they can use to complete all the assignments and work. Another important part for the syllabi is the general description, telling the students what they're going to be covering, what type of topics, what information they're going to be looking at for any particular chapter here. So that's what this is going to give them. Once they figure out and identify all the different parts of the syllabi, I will also be giving them just a simple quiz to make sure that they understand and identify little parts that I will be requiring throughout the semester that can be read here on the syllabi. Again, I'm going to also provide them a weekly outline. And the weekly outline, like most of us are familiar, you're going to have the schedules of what's going to happen, what particular week, quizzes, homeworks, tests, all that good stuff is going to be in here. They can easily follow that in case, again, they did not attend one of the regular maybe sessions or are kind of lost, don't know where they're at. They can always refer back to the weekly outlines. Watch my videos is going to be where they're going to be able again to find tutorials on how to maybe submit labs, in this case how to maneuver through Blackboard. Again, this is one of the videos that I've created and I've uploaded already. There's many more to come. Activities, I've made the activities to where the student can easily look at something here and identify what is going to be in every particular part or every particular chapter. So the first thing they're going to find is the PowerPoints for that particular chapter. The second part or item that they're going to find is the self-study guide, basically notes. The third thing would be the assignment, which is the reviewing the basic questions at the end of the chapter. Then after that is going to be their labs. Then after that is going to be a research question about that particular chapter. So I've kept it uniformly where the students would know what to expect the next chapter when they come into this. For example, moving from chapter 3 to chapter 7 in this case, they know the layout, how everything's going to be configured or set up. This here is going to have a due date or due times of when they're required to complete this chapter. Now I've started filling in some of the products here or some of the items. So if I click on chapter 3, for example, again, they have a PowerPoint, and yes, by the way, all these links are up and available. They can easily click on it and get the PDFs for these. The review questions, I'm going to ask them to do a handwritten review question, and once they finish their handwritten review questions, to make sure that they highlight the answers to those questions when they answer those. For them to, after they've done the handwritten, to take snapshots of the particular work done and then place those into a document which then they'll create or convert into a PDF. The hopes here is to have the students write things down. I've been told and I've read that if you write items down into a piece of paper versus typing it out, you get to recollect a lot more on what you've read or what you've done. So the hopes is that. On the next part here, the labs. The labs, like I mentioned, we're going to, this is a technical field. The students that are coming through this particular degree, I would like for them to have quite a bit of experience, hands-on experience on the products that they're working with. Here I'm going to ask them to basically do the same thing as before, which was take snapshots on items that or questions that they have on the labs that might require them to do a process. For example, maybe open a control panel or something to that effect. Then they would show me that they can maneuver that way or get to that particular point by doing whatever steps required versus them just saying I did it type thing. So they would take a snapshot of their screen. Again, this is a software class which makes it convenient in that sense. And here another thing would be that they're getting to use all the technology. So they're getting to use the computers, they're getting to use parts, tools, items, maybe again converting to JPEG or PDF, things like that. So the idea is to get the learner familiar more with particular device that they're working with. After those items are done, then the next thing is the research question. So in this particular case, they're going to give me a page and a half information of the different versions of Windows. And then again, I'll ask them to convert it over to PDF. So this is going to be the layout throughout the different chapters. And like I said, it's still an ongoing project. Obviously, I'm not complete yet with this. Another thing that I'm going to have this learner do in this particular class is discussions. Just like we have in our online classes, I'm going to ask the students to reflect back on what they've done through the different chapters or items that they'll be studying, and give me some feedback on, in this case for example, the UAC function of Windows Vista or Windows 7. What is it? How does it work? Do you require it? Do you find it convenient, or do you find it annoying? Things to that nature. Again, the discussions are going to allow the students to reflect back on what they've studied, what they've read, and hopefully put into practice what they've studied there. Next question asked was, what lessons have you learned? When doing this project, what I did learn, if I go into my videos, is that when I created these videos, I created them and saved them as an AVI format. When I delivered those to students to open or view, they were having issues. Some of them either were running Google Chrome or Firefox, and they couldn't open up the videos, or they couldn't play it. So what I found out was that if I converted those AVIs to MP4s, that would take care of the problem. My thoughts are that from now on, anytime that I upload a video, it's going to be as an MP4 type format. I also uploaded the video to Blackboard, in this case Coursite, so that the student can view the video straight directly off the particular link or tool. Another lesson is, when you're working with these tools, use the tools that are familiar to you. For me, for example, I was using Movie Maker before, and when I moved over to Camtasia, I was having a little issue, so I reverted back to Movie Maker, and because of the amount of time that I was taking to work with Camtasia. But again, my thoughts are that if you have a tool and you've used it in something that's maybe useful due to time constraints or things to that nature, then obviously use that tool. Another lesson would be the time management. I found that again, if we focus on one particular part and not all the different parts, then you would obviously be able to accomplish more by getting those items finished and produced and then moving on. The next question asked was, what is the chances of finishing the product by the deadline? I would think that my format is pretty much done. All I need is contents that I'll be uploading on the different activities, for example, different sections, different chapters, assignments, assessments. I haven't done those yet, but I would say that I'm pretty much confident that I will be completing this task by the due date, even though there's no guarantees of getting 100% of the project done. I would say that I'm pretty close to that, maybe 95%, that I will be completing by the due date. The final question was, any concerns or issues that may interest the class as a whole? I would say, first, manage the parts of the content slowly and methodically, making sure that everything gets processed as you proceed. Second would be the time for communications with your subject matter expert is crucial, making sure that you get the time to talk to them about issues or problems. Listen to others that might have a better method of doing something than maybe you have. And the last one, keep up with your milestone timelines that you had outlined at the beginning of the project. Thank you very much for watching. This is Gustavo Garza.